Galmar Joba. How is everybody today? It's a beautiful day. So, we already know what I look like. We don't really need to have my picture on here. Uh, this channel is about Georgia, so we don't have to look at me. We could look at Georgia. So I got a picture up here. What do you think about this? This is a picture of a house, if you didn't figure it out. Basically, would you buy this house just by this picture alone? Maybe it doesn't look so good. I don't know if you've been to Georgia before or not, but give you a clue. This is kind of what a typical house looks like in Georgia. I know we can't see the whole house. I'm not showing you much. I'm just giving you a little teaser just to see what you think, get an idea what you think about just looking at a part of the house and see if that's something that interests you. Are you the kind of person that could, just by looking at this part of the house, fix this part of the house? You think if you got this house cheap enough, you would either fix it yourself or pay a small fee to have someone fix this part of the house for you? So a couple of things to think about. One, no, I would not buy this house just from this picture. Doesn't tell me much. I don't know if it's 1 story, 2 stories. I don't know how big this house is. I don't know where it is. And of course, this really could be a horrible house. But as you know, same as anywhere in the world, location is key. Even if this was the worst house in Georgia, if it was in a great location, now would you buy it? Would it be worth it to you? Who cares what the house is if it's in that location? What I do, I like to have a house. I like to have a house that's possible to fix up. But I like a lot of property, some land. So say this piece of house is on a small, maybe 120 square meters, 100 square meters. Sometimes you can get a poor house on a small piece of property, but it might be in a good location. Might be something you can do with it, fix it up, rent it out. It might be bad enough condition, good enough price. You could tear down the house and build a new, better house. So these are some things you have to think about. But for this picture here, we can't tell much of the surrounding areas. We know if there's mountains around, we can kind of see some trees in the back, nice sky. But we don't know if this is in the mountains, in the city. We can't tell what kind of yard this is, how big the yard is. Or if there's trees in the yard. A lot of yards or land in Georgia always have fruit trees. So usually no matter where you go or what you buy, you're going to get some fruit trees with your house or land or property. So what if I told you, I'm not going to tell you anything about the house right now, but what if I told you the property was about 2,500 meters squared? So that's a big piece of property. Of course, there's bigger pieces of property, but if for a house in Georgia, in this location, which I haven't told you, it's a big piece of property. There's not a lot of houses. Well, I guess you can say there are a lot of houses, but many houses for sale are, the property is maybe 1,000 square meters, less. I've seen properties for like 120 square meters. You're basically, like some parts in the U.S. where I live, there's just a house next to house next to house. There's not much property. You get a little front yard, a little backyard. You're kind of in the city. You don't really have much yard. I like a big yard. If I'm going to buy a place, unless it's, like I told you, a great location or on the river or something really special about it, I'm looking for something over 2,500 meters squared. Bigger is better for me. I don't even care about the house. I can fix the house up. To get things fixed, have people work for you in Georgia is very cheap. The average pay is, I think it's $300 a month. So you can get things done with not that much money. You can build what they call a black frame house, which is basically just the frame, kind of looks like this, for under 10,000 US. So things can be done. That's not a big problem. So back to this picture. You really can't see much, of course. This is part one. I'm going to have a couple more parts. We're going to show you the front of the house. Well, this is the front of the house, but the very front of the house, the yard, and then we'll ask again, would you buy it? And of course, what's most important is the price. So we're not going to worry about the price right now, but what if I told you this house has 2 floors? Many houses, I don't want to say most, but maybe most, a lot of houses in Georgia have 2 floors. Some have 2 floors in what they call a basement, where they usually make the wine. Many houses actually have 3 floors. But a lot of houses, most houses have 2 floors. So now, I'm not going to tell you how big the yard is. I'm not going to tell you if it's 2 floors. Maybe if you look at the picture closely, you can get some clues, but that will be in the next video, part 2. I'll show you part by part, a little bit. See if you'd buy a house like this. I can tell you this is a typical house in Georgia. Actually, another clue for you, there is a door. It's open in this picture. But a lot of these houses for sale, especially bigger property and out in the country, might not have a door. Might not have any windows. Would you buy that? Is that the kind of place, if it was a big enough, nice enough piece of property and the house had potential? That's kind of how I see things, potential. Looking at this picture, it's kind of tough to tell if this house has potential. You don't know where it is, where it's located, how big the yard is, how big the house is. But when I look for a house or look to buy a house, I'm looking for potential. Because usually, if it has potential, you can buy a house cheap. If you can do a little bit of handiwork yourself, you can fix it up cheap. Or, like I told you, you can hire someone to fix it up cheap for you if you don't have the skills or don't want to learn the skills. But Georgia's kind of a place where even if you don't have the skills, maybe you go to retire, you buy a cheap house, nice property where you can relax. You can work on the house, give you a hobby, give you something to do. People say, well, if I go to Georgia, what am I going to do in Georgia? Well, you can work on your house. Probably if you have a house wherever you live now, you're already working on it. We're paying someone to do something to it. So that's what I look for, the potential. Can this place be fixed? Can it be fixed up cheaply? Can I fix it? How big is the yard? I don't want to be next to another house. Which is kind of funny, because in Georgia, you'll have a big piece of property, and the neighbor will be right next to your house, maybe a meter apart, which is weird because you have this big property, but I don't know why they do it. But you would think whoever built the first house, whoever built the second house would kind of maybe do it on the other side of the property. But they tend to do it right next to each other. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know what it is. But I guess it maybe gives you much more property. I don't know. But anyway, so a house like this, would it be difficult to fix the front up? Not really. If you mix a little cement, put it on the wall, either make it a flat wall or maybe put some stones on the wall. A lot of houses have stone fronts. They're basically built like this. Maybe they'll put a stone front on it. Use actual stones, stick them on the wall. Stones are easy to get, a lot of stones in Georgia. So this actual house, this has the door, it has the windows. But many houses, well, I don't say many, but some houses you can buy, they don't even have a roof. So can you put a roof on? Actually, you could. It's not that difficult to put a roof on. But it'd be cheap. to pay someone to put a roof on for you if you don't want to even try it. So these are things you have to think about. Would you pay this house, buy this cheap price, good property, good location? Or would you rather pay a little bit more and maybe get a little better finished house? So a lot of it has to do with how much money you have. If you don't have a lot of money, well, I don't want to tell you it's a great house. I want to surprise you, but this is a great house if you don't have a lot of money. And you'll see on the next couple of videos what caught my eye when I first looked at this house. This picture is actually quite old already. It's about 5 years old now. But I'll show you. I saw one picture of this house, and that's what sold me on it. So if you look at the front, yeah, you might not buy. I don't like the way the front looks. Well, you can fix the front. You could pay someone to fix the front. But back to what I was saying is the roofs, for some reason, many of the roofs in Georgia have leaks in them. So you could buy a better looking house than this one. Of course, you're going to pay a little bit more money. And so you might get less property. It depends where the location is. Many factors, just like anywhere. But a lot of them have leaks. And the leaks come down. They usually have a lot of wallpaper in Georgia. A lot of wood in Georgia. So you can see the whole side of the wall has water damage. Water damage usually means you're going to get mold. Things are going to rot. If it's wood, you can get rotten wood. A lot of problems with that. So would you buy a better looking house than this with a bad roof that leaks and all that damage you don't know about yet? How much damage it is? It's damage, but how much? Or maybe you'd buy this house that has a roof that does not leak. Actually, you don't know it. You can't tell by looking at it, but the roof on this house was recently, a new roof was put on. And the walls have no water damage. You can see mostly stone and bricks these houses are made of. So you don't really get a lot of damage like you would in a wood house. There's wood houses in Georgia, of course, especially the older ones. A lot of the roofs are made of wood. Then they put the metal sheets on top. But so you get a leak, the roof trusses, they start to rot over the years. Now you got big problems. So you got to look at that. But this one actually has a good roof. Of course, you didn't know that in the beginning, but now you might think, hey, good roof, no water damage, nothing, no surprise fixes. Maybe I just need to fix up the front. Then you have a good house. You put a new front, new facade on this place. Now what's it worth to you? Would you buy it? If I spent a weekend putting a new stone front on this house, I'm going to charge more money if I bought this house and sold it. So you can put a little effort, a little work, a little bit of money. You're going to increase the value of your property. So you have to think of these things. How much do you want to spend? Most of the people I deal with are 5-6 figures. A lot of people want to retire. So they maybe sell their house. They could sell their house in wherever they live. Maybe make a couple $100,000. Want to retire on that? You can do that in Georgia. You want to spend $100,000 on a new house in Georgia? You can. They have them. They have brand new houses. They have $1 million homes. They got whatever you want. But basically, this is the kind of property I like. Of course, from the outside, I've bought better properties. Look on the outside. You haven't seen the inside of this place yet, but like I told you, many houses are like this on the outside. But you can buy better houses than this very cheap. They might need a new roof. They might have a small property. They might have a bigger property. Depends where you want to live. You want to live in the city, the big capital, Tbilisi. You're not going to get a nice house cheap. You're not going to get a nice apartment cheap. This house is cheaper, or was cheaper. Value goes up. Value's going up all the time. It's tougher to get cheaper and cheaper properties in Tbilisi. You still can, but they're, especially compared to Western countries, but they're getting, properties getting smaller. Houses are getting more expensive. A lot of these houses they're making apartments out of. So it's tough to, it's getting tougher. I don't say it's tough. It's getting tougher to get the better, nice properties. But a 20 square foot apartment, bad apartment in Tbilisi, not even in a good area, will cost you more than this house will. So you got to think, do you want to live in Tbilisi? This house is not in Tbilisi. It's about hour and a half, 2 hours away. But if you're going to go to Tbilisi to buy a decent apartment, you're looking over 50,000 US. And it might not be in the best area. Not like a crime area, but it's not not in the best area where people want to be. People want to live where everything is. Might be a little outside, across the river. Maybe not the best building, but you're looking around 50,000 for a one-bedroom apartment, maybe 25 square feet, 30 square feet. A lot of the apartments in Tbilisi are on the first floor, and you have a shared yard. They call it the Italian yard or Georgia yard. It's got a lot of kids running around, a lot of noise on the first floor. You don't really want to be on the first floor. Not a lot of people are selling the apartments above the first floor. They don't mind getting rid of the first floor apartments. It gets tougher. Prices go up when you get off the first floor. So you can buy probably, I'll give you a clue. You could buy probably 2 of these houses for the price of a decent apartment in Tbilisi. And actually, 5-6 years ago when I was first started looking in Georgia for a place to buy, that's what, like most people do, they want to buy an apartment in Tbilisi, in a good location. Well, once I started finding out the prices, and I could afford it, I had the money, I was going to put it down. And actually when I first started buying, I had $50,000 I wanted to invest in a property. So I was looking all around, I was learning, I was finding things out, what to do, how to do it. You don't want to buy a property right away. You need to learn a little bit. And I started figuring out, I'm going to buy a small apartment, and I'm not going to get that much. I'm going to pay a lot of money. And I'm going to be in the city. You know, the city can be good, can be bad, but I think you get tired of the city after a while. You want to get some peace. You don't want to hear your neighbors, kids yelling, screaming, dogs barking. So then I started looking outside of Tbilisi. And then I started finding these nice houses. Even houses better looking than this. I'm not saying this is the best looking house on the outside. You haven't seen the yard though. The yard's very important to me. But I said I could buy 2, 3, 4 houses, different parts of the country, or I could buy 1 apartment in Tbilisi. So I thought, better for me, I'll buy a few houses and I can move around. I could live 3 months over here. I could live 4 months in the mountains. I could live 3 months over at the ocean. I could live out in the forest for a couple months. I could move around. Never get tired. I might get tired of moving around, but I won't get tired of my location. So that's what I do. That's how I kind of figured out to become kind of like a specialist in these low-priced, big houses with big yards outside of the capital. And I have a guy who works for me who lives in Tbilisi, can find you the nice apartments and the big houses and nice houses, and you pay a lot of money in Tbilisi. So it's up to you. Like I said, I deal with 5 to 6 figure people mostly. If you have $1 million, you want to get a place and retire in Georgia, we can find it for you. I have someone in Tbilisi. I got someone in Batumi. You want to live in the ocean. You want to live in the capital. Got people that specialize in that. That's not a problem. But if you want a nice big place, big piece of land out in the country or a small village, small city, that's what I do. And so this is part one. Stay tuned. We'll give you a few more parts of this because I got some videos. I'm going to show you some different parts of it and see if this is the kind of property you might be. Well, I'm not selling this one, but I didn't say I bought it either. But if you're interested in this type of property, where you might have to do a little fixing up or pay someone to do a little fixing up for a little bit of money, kind of out in the country-ish, small village, small city area. You have some privacy. You have to pick your own fruit. You live in an apartment in Tbilisi, you don't have any fruit trees. Here you can grow grapes, you can grow your fruit trees, you can do whatever you want. You don't have all these building permits. So once you buy a house, you can do what you want. Nobody bothers you. So anyway, thanks for watching. Think about this question. Would you buy a property like this? Wait for the next parts to come out. I have part 2 in a little bit. And see if this is the way you want to go. If I can help you out. Thanks for watching.